Welcome to The Classical Thinker, your source for independent political news. I'm Jilletta Jarvis, and today on our Candidate Spotlight, we'll be speaking with Jennifer Flower. Jennifer is joining us from the Prairie Township of Ohio, where she is running for Township Trustee. Welcome, Jennifer, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
Well, since elementary school, I've actually been a longtime volunteer. I started by doing God Flag and Country speech contests with the local VFW when I was in elementary school. And since then, I've continued. I was a resident advisor in college. I've volunteered with our Humane Society, our Alumni Association, and things like that. So being a political activist and a political volunteer is kind of newer on the frontier, but I thought it was really important to get back to that and to be involved politically, because I see so many issues that can be fixed on the local level if you just start working at it. It's amazing how much you can fix if you simply show up.
Exactly. So you've been talking a lot during your campaign about improving things for small businesses, specifically increasing small business partnerships. Could you explain a little bit about how you would work to fix this as trustee?
Oh, absolutely. So we've got a really vibrant small business community. One thing that I would like to see with our increasing partnerships specifically is that I would love to see more opportunities for the business owners and for high school age students to come together. I see informal and formal internship opportunities where these students can learn these life skills and employment skills so that they have other options outside of just going straight to college if that's not their path. I think it would be beneficial not only for the business owners, who will then have new employees that they have trained in the way that they want to be trained with the skills that they need, but also give the students opportunities to, not have that college debt when they're so young and still figuring out what they want to do with their lives.
New Hampshire recently started a program very similar to this on a statewide level. It might be an interesting thing for you to look into if you are elected to go in. We have students who are going in and mentoring in businesses and getting that training without having to go to college first to get that training. So the employers are getting the specific job skills that they need, which is exactly what you just said, and the students are still getting their education. So it's working out well for them.
That's awesome.
Another platform issue that you has been growing your community center. Could you describe what actually needs to be done there?
Absolutely. The community center is basically the cornerstone of our community. It's our gym, it's our resource center for different things like diabetes, support groups, or other types of support groups, or swim lessons for the kids, and summer camps for the kids and things like that. Right now, the community center is actually only making 70% of its operating budget, and the township is then supplementing to continue to keep it running. It's very apparent that we need the community center as a resource center, as a place to have these classes, to have our gym, to expand our health opportunities. And it's really important to me that the community center eventually becomes self-funded, because then the community can start funding the other programs that's kind of been waiting, or be able to pay off some debts early, hopefully not burden small business owners with additional taxes down the road if it's not self-funded. I just see this as an opportunity to really make sure that we're setting a solid financial stability for the community and that solid foundation.
Well, it's excellent. A way for it to give back to the community as well. Let's talk more about education. You want to work with that community center and your metro parks to increase the variety of physical education and nature education options that are available to your youth. Why is this currently an issue, and how do you plan to benefit the community with these programs?
Issue because our community is in need of creative solutions and creative outlets for our students. We're a lower income community, and so really a lot of this outreach and community involvement actually comes through the schools rather than maybe the families. So if our community center is able to help do some educational programming for life skills, whether it's the things that adults need to learn how to do, like balancing a checkbook, opening a bank account, those types of things, or whether it's at the nature center, you know, learning why it is important to make sure that our parks stay clean, or you know, just how to design an exercise program for yourself to keep yourself healthy. Cooking classes, teaching students how to cook for themselves. I think that if we can attack it in a holistic way so that the students have things that interest them and then learn things that may not have interested them before, but they find that it's an actually, you know, it's important and it's an interest to them, and kind of grow their interests as well.
Oh, very interesting. There are a couple of other issues that you've raised during your campaign that are impacting the township other than these platform items that I'd like to touch on, if that's okay. One of them is the water. It currently costs, for example, in Lincoln Village alone, for a two-person household, between $800 and $1,200 every 3 months for water. That seems a little bit excessive to me. I think our water bill for a family of 5 was $8. So I cannot grasp
Wow.
100. How could you affect that?
You know, that's one of those things where it's going to be a challenge. I don't know that the trustees by themselves can affect that change without rallying community members behind them, and basically then forcing that back up to the city of Columbus and Franklin County as a whole. For example, our water bills in my neighborhood, because our township is disconnected, it's two larger parts. So our water bills are about $75 per household, compared to their essentially $3 or $300 a month per household. So it's not something that's affecting my community, but the community that it is affecting is predominantly retired people who have paid off their house, who are on a fixed income at this point, and to continue allowing those prices to stay at that exorbitant amount is unacceptable. It's something that it's been talked about for years and nothing's been done about it. So it's important to me that even if it's not something that can be solved at the trustee level, at least lead the way to find that solution.
Now, I just want to expand on this a little. Is the reason for the high water price because of taxes in that town, or is it that they figure this is a wealthier town so they can just raise the prices there, or is it a supply issue? They have a hard time getting the water there. I'm not sure.
I think that it is a combination of those factors. However, what I will say, and it's really interesting to me, it's something I'm still kind of wrapping my head around. The section that is affecting the most is actually completely in all directions surrounded by the city of Columbus. So in other words, if this part of the township essentially annexed themselves back to the city of Columbus, it's almost like they want that, the city of Columbus wants that to happen, and then they would drop the water bills back down. And I feel like there's those factors going on. I actually kind of suspected that a few months ago, and just recently talked with a community member after one of our township meetings, and he actually confirmed that. He would one currently, unless things change, that would actually lead the way to try to get themselves annexed back, because the water bill is such an issue with him when his source of income is currently Social Security retirement.
That's just too bad.
It,
I'm just astounded at those prices
yeah,
for water.
I know.
Speaking about our public health, which water is a main factor of, you've got a couple other public health issues that you've been speaking about. One of them is rat activity.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think that is a little bit of just being part of a large city. I think that's just, some of that's going to happen. It is. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is. One thing that I think is contributing to that actually is that a few years back, the members of the community voted that they did not want to have a centralized or monopolized trash pickup. So right now we've got about 4 or 5 different companies that contract to come do your trash pickup. And so I have one company, neighbors on each side of me have different companies. They all have trash pickups on all different days. So what's happening is it creates that environment where there's always a source of food, there's always a source of water for, other rodents, not just rats, but that seems to be where the issue lies.
So there's always trash on the side of the road.
I don't know how to, yes. Now, I'll say most of our neighbors, at least in my neighborhood, are very good about taking their trash bin up the day out, the morning after, the evening when they get home after work, not putting it out until the day of. But there's just that factor that a few do. And so it's just kind of one of those situations where it kind of perpetuates itself, where there's always going to be food and trash out, even if it's contained to the dumpsters.
That's so interesting, because I live in a more rural community, but here, the places that have rat issues are farming communities, because there's always grain and food outside. And I never would have conceived of a suburb or a more urban area to have a rat problem in this day and age. So that was a very interesting thing to read.
It's very interesting, because we really are on the edge of actually active farms, family farms. So there is some of that,
Okay.
like you said. And then we're also kind of in a floodplain area. So you've got active farms near trash sources, access to water and creeks. And, even there's a lot of forest areas that aren't too terribly far for other larger rodents. So it's an interesting combination of factors.
So have you had health scares with people due to the rat problem?
Not to my knowledge. I think they were able to contain it very quickly. It was an issue noted at one of our restaurants. I don't know if you saw, I guess there was a viral video back in, I believe, September of 2018, so not even that far ago, of the back of a Waffle House, showing rats in the trash at the back of the Waffle House. This is my neighborhood, not my neighborhood, but it's our township. So that's kind of what sparked, I think, the whole public concern about it, because at that point it's like, okay, we've got to deal with this. This is now online, it's gone viral. We can't just kind of say it is what it is.
Can't sweep it under the rug, so to speak.
Exactly.
Wow. So is this why waste management is one of your other public health concern issues that you want to deal with?
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch the first part of the question.
Is this the reason why waste management is one of the other issues that you've been speaking on? And can you expand on that?
Yes. It's of concern because, like I mentioned, a few years ago, the residents decided that they didn't want monopolized control of waste management. But I think we can come up with a different solution that's going to be a middle ground. Whether it's sitting representatives of the different waste management companies and residents in a room and putting together a schedule that says, okay, all trash pickups in this neighborhood are going to happen on this day, and so on, so that we limit the amount of days that trash is out, or find some other creative solution to it. Because I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to force everyone to use the same company. We've already said no overwhelmingly. We really don't want that to happen. So if that's the decision, then how do we compensate for it? How do we, make it a workable solution so that people can still have their choices and we can also keep it clean?
So you're not suggesting that each street be managed by a certain company. You're suggesting that they coordinate, company A does their pickups on this street from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. This company can then start at 10, and that sort of scheduling.
Exactly.
Well, I agree that I agree that monopolies never work in the benefit of people. It's how prices go up. So I'm glad to see that you're not interested in solving the problem by bringing back the monopoly.
Never.
So Jennifer, in interest of time, is there anything else you'd like to tell everyone about yourself or your campaign that would help them to make an informed decision when they head to the voting booth?
I think one of the big issues that our township is facing is obviously the financial issues that I started out by talking about with the community center. They are building a new sports complex that I just have a lot of questions about how that's going to be funded and how that's going to be revenue neutral as well. And I think that those financial issues, in combination with 2 out of the 3 current trustees having been in office for 3 and I believe 5 terms, really brings a level of complacency. I don't think there's any malintent or anything of that nature. I just don't think that they are seeing things from the way that a new resident would, or that, just a resident that's not been elected coming in with a fresh perspective does. And I think it's time to change that perspective. The other thing I would like to say, kind of along the same lines, is that I went out to get petition signatures. 4 or 5 of the couples that I met when I was getting petition signatures have moved into our township within the last 6 months. When you have that high percentage of folks who have moved in, who are younger and of a different generation than the current trustees, I think it is time for that new perspective. So I think that is definitely part of it. That's a huge reason why I decided to run. And I think that I'm a coalition builder. I like to hear everyone's perspectives. I want to take the time to understand what their concerns are and see if we can come up with a solution that's going to work for everyone. I know you can't please everyone, but I think it's important to feel like you've been heard.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jennifer, and good luck on your campaign and bringing a fresh perspective to the Prairie Township of Ohio, which, by the way, is the state I was born in. So it's nice to see a fresh and happy face looking to get into politics there. My uncle was a mayor up north of you. So it's very nice to meet you. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your views with us.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And thank you all. Thank you all for joining us today at The Classical Thinker, and we will see you again soon.